Good morning, everybody. Dr. Gabriele Jasper here, MD, interventional pain physician, board certified. And we're here talking Painless by Dr. Gabriele Jasper. And we got Jeremy here. He's the co-host here,
Hey, guys.
helping us out. We talk about different things, but I just want to let you know, just like I always do, what interventional pain is, especially if there's new people listening.
Yeah.
And this is allegedly going all over the world, this podcast. Interventional pain, in my opinion, and of course that's my definition, because I don't think there's any strict definition yet, but it's all about finding the pain generator, figuring out what's pinching that nerve, figuring out what's actually causing the pain, and just getting rid of it. It's not, I always say it's not rocket science. You
Right.
just have to know how to find it. And when you find it, you get rid of it. Very few times we can't find a pain generator. When that happens, I hate to say it, a lot of times it's the patient's attitude, negative affect and stuff like that we talked about. However, it's no such a thing as shotgun approach. Let's just blast it and maybe we'll catch the pain generator.
Right.
The worst part of that is when they get major spine surgery. Sometimes some of the surgeons, they just do major surgery and think that's going to get rid of the pain. But a lot of time it opens up a whole new can of worms and it just makes the pain worse. That's why you need to concentrate, learn today. There's no excuse not to figure it out, not to learn how to figure out where the pain generator is. There's ways of doing it, MRIs, CAT scans, ultrasound, imaging, all kinds of imaging, and just physical, the old-fashioned history and physical examination gives you probably 80-90% of the discovery of what the possible pain generators are. And this is always a major topic, I think, with every patient in my office. They don't understand it, especially if you're a physician, you don't explain it to the patient, guess what? They're going to leave you.
Yeah.
Because a person could have 3 or 4 or 5 pain generators causing the same type of pain.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, and I always say this to the patient, I hate to say it, but it's a process of elimination.
Because the patient, it only feels like one, right?
Yeah, it feels like one pain generator.
Yeah.
But you can have 5 different pain generators causing the exact same pain.
Right.
So, you pick the one that's least invasive and the one that you feel as a physician, as a clinician, diagnostician, on which one you think is actually causing the majority of that pain. Sometimes it's a symphony of all the pain generators causing the same pain.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's, you got on an MRI, you look at the pain generators and it looks like any one of them could be causing the pain, even by symptoms. It could be one causing that pain. They all could be caused, like I said, a symphony, all of them causing pain, or maybe just 2 of them.
Yeah.
So what you do is a process of elimination based on your clinical, physical history and physical examination, and you make a choice, an educated professional choice, and you treat it. They come back with 100% pain-free. Guess what? You found the pain generator, and the pain will go away.
Right.
Now you got to figure out how to get rid of it.
Yeah. When I was a patient, I came in to see you. I had multiple levels. And I had arthritis. To me, it was all one pain, but you did explain it to me, and I sat through the process with you. Every couple weeks when I'd have to come in for next exam, I would you would go through it. All right, we're going to take care of this one, and you always go for the more painful pain generator first, right? Or what you think might be. Right.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
You always ask the patient, where's your worst pain? But going back to my topic, if the patient comes back, like I said, it's 100% pain-free, then you nailed it first time. And that happens quite a few times. But if the patient comes back, let's say 50% pain-free, then the other 50% is coming from another pain generator.
Right.
Patients need to understand this. Because if they don't understand it, because there's a possibility the pain generator that you thought was a pain generator, it looks like it on the MRI, and clinically it looks like it, and you do the injection and they get no pain relief, guess what? You missed the boat.
Right.
And not because you're an idiot or you're not a good diagnostician or you didn't figure it out. It's just the process of elimination.
Yeah.
Now, what happens if you don't explain this to the patients? They leave you.
Yeah.
They don't even come back for a follow-up.
Actually, if you look when you're looking on the internet to find a new doctor and you're reading through reviews and you see some bad ones, most likely these are patients that didn't listen or wasn't educated and split when the first procedure didn't work.
That's exactly what happens, and but that's one of the problems in my office. Why you got to wait a little bit longer.
Sure.
If you come back with 25% pain relief, then 75% of it is coming from somewhere else,
right?
Most likely,
Yeah.
and you pick them off one at a time. And I always say, little is better.
Yeah.
And you get to figure it out, because once you figure it out, and they come back a year later, 2 years later with the same pain, there's no more trial and error. You know where the pain is.
Right.
People need to understand this, and they need to understand the MRIs. On the way here today, I heard one of our advertisements that I was speaking over the radio. I can't remember. I don't remember radios, but it was all the oldies from the 70s and 80s. But it was the one about me talking. It was the first time I've ever heard it about me talking about our staff, how compassionate we are, and how we care about our patients. We're like family, and that's exactly the way it is. And the fact that I talked, some people complain about the wait in my office, and then when they come in, I spend a lot of time with them, and I make sure they understand exactly what's going on in their body causing them to have the pain. Guess what? This is what I say in my advertisement.
Yeah.
They don't complain anymore.
Yeah.
But you got your exceptions.
You got your
people
exceptions.
That have no patience.
Some people are Karens, right?
Yeah, they just forget about it. But anyway, that was a good topic as far as pain generators. But I want to talk about some of the new procedures and some of the success that we've had this week. We had a patient that was a 22-year-old female that came to the office with a big herniated disc, crying. She received a percutaneous discectomy from somebody, which was definitely an appropriate procedure. I think we might have talked about this. It was an appropriate procedure because she's young, and you do the most minimal procedures first. And it was a contained disc, but it was pressure on a nerve. So a percutaneous discectomy decompresses the center of the disc. It's like letting air out of a tire.
Gotcha.
And when you let air out of a tire, the tire becomes softer. So there's not as much pressure on the direct pressure on the nerve. In fact, maybe the internal pressure of the nerve is higher than the pressure on that little herniation that you decompressed, and they become pain-free.
Right.
But this didn't happen with this girl. It was just a bigger herniation, harder herniation. And we had, together with Dr. Scobler, we did a endoscopic surgery on her. It was one of the first ones that Dr. Scobler has done, and he did a fantastic job. And I'm walking him through it. He's learning. This is one of the reasons he joined the practice, to learn the endoscopic surgery from me. I've trained tons of doctors, surgeons, neurosurgeons, orthopedic surgeons, interventional pain, radiologists, neurologists, physiatrists, all walks of life that really care about their patients and want to learn these new procedures that work.
Right.
Without really hurting the patient, without hurting the patient at all, providing there's no complication. Well, anyway, she woke up. When I say woke up, she was never really asleep, because we keep the patient just sedated enough to communicate with them.
Yeah. Now, is that twilight, or is it
It's like a twilight, but the patient will tell you if they feel pain down the leg. Like we stimulate the nerve, and they need to tell us if they feel it down the leg or the back or wherever. Yeah. She woke up pain-free. She had a little numbness in her foot, because sometimes when you have a lot of pressure on a nerve that's causing pain, when you take away, and this is good for the population out there to understand this, when you take away the severe pain that's been there for a while, you feel numbness sometimes. And depending on how badly the nerve is injured, it can go away within a week. It could take a year. It could sometimes never go away. There might be actual permanent nerve damage. But she had stronger, her foot, everything, leg was much stronger than it was before the case. Now, this is somebody they wanted to do major spine surgery on. In fact, I got a kid in the gym who's like 20 years old, 21 years old. He's already had, I think a year or two ago, he had a fusion at, I think it was 5S1 or 4.5. At that young age, he had a fusion, which I think is ridiculous. There is no, in my opinion, I'm sure a lot of surgeons disagree with me, but in my opinion, there's very few reasons why anybody at that age deserves a fusion. In fact, I gave him I'm treating it. He created, because he's an athlete,
Mm.
right? He's developed a little bit of arthritis.
Yeah.
I've given him some shots. He's got chronic low back pain. We got to figure out why has he got that chronic low back pain. He's got the fusion. A lot of times people who get fusion have chronic back pain for the rest of their life, just from the fusion and scar tissue in itself.
Yeah.
He might be under that category. We made him feel better with calming the inflammation of the area, with the nerves and everything, with the transferrin epidurals.
How old is he?
He's like 21,
21,
22
Jeez.
maybe. And I saw him in the gym working out. He's a strong kid, good shape, keeps himself in good shape. Doesn't live too excessively. He's a 21-year-old, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
He told me that they wanted to do an anterior approach, go through the intestines, and a posterior approach on him. And I saw his MRI previously. It was almost exactly like the 23-year-old we operated on. I'm talking, we did a 4-millimeter incision. We found a pain generator, took it off the nerve, pain-free. What do you need all this abdominal incision down the belly, take out the intestines, move them all to the side, 2 different surgeons, to put an artificial disc in, which he didn't need, and fusion, posterior fusion. I mean, what are they thinking?
Yeah.
And please, any surgeon listening to this, and if you're a smart surgeon and you're reasonable and you're honest, would agree with me.
Right.
This is nothing to bash surgeons, right? Because you get all walks of life. You get good surgeons, bad surgeons, good interventional pain docs, good internists, good urologists, good dermatologists, and bad ones. You got to be careful.
Well, common sense. I mean, even common sense says that if you what do you call it? You get. I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Well, you see, the problem is the layperson. You don't know who to go to.
Yeah.
That's an old topic. I don't know who to go to. I go to my friend. That's a surgeon that does whatever they're looking for. But is he the best or is she the best? You don't know.
You don't know.
You never know. If you actually watch them do surgery, and sometimes if you don't know how to do that surgery, you can't tell if they're good or not. But that was a great success. We've had a few people this week with spinal stenosis that we treated them with the posterior minimally invasive intraspinal spacers, which opens up the central canal. And these are the people who can't walk far. They got to sit down. Their legs are weak. They can pull themselves up the banister. That the positive leaning on the shopping cart sign.
Yeah.
And they do good. In fact, I had a patient yesterday that I put it in 4 years ago. 4 years ago. And she came in yesterday and said, "Doc, that was the best thing I ever did in my life. I still feel great results." People look at me and they say, "How the heck do you run around and get up and jump up and down and go to climb up the stairs and walk?" It's like they knew her before, and she knew herself. Very few people remember how bad it was.
Yeah.
And but she was here. I think she needed her arthritis treated. We treat the arthritis. We burn the nerves. Actually, we heat the nerves up at 80 degrees Celsius for 90 seconds, coming out of the arthritic joints. That's called ablation of the medial branch nerves.
And you think that would, from the patient's point of view, you would think 80. Oh, you're burning my nerves at 80 degrees. Doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all. I've had it.
Well, if you think about 80 degrees, it's not even boiling point.
Right.
100 degrees Celsius is boiling point, so it just heats them up.
Yeah.
It's like heating a frying pan up at 80 degrees Celsius.
Right.
And throwing an egg in it.
Yeah.
It's going to turn white. It's not going to sizzle and fry up. It's going to turn white. Why? Because the heat of it denaturizes the protein, and it goes from clear to white.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it does to the nerves.
Radio frequency is fantastic. Whenever I've had it, I've been so happy with the results afterwards. Like 2 weeks after that last one. Like somebody flips a switch, and ever since it's been over, it's definitely been 2 years now since I've had my last one, and I'm still rolling out of my bed without a grunt, and that's fantastic because I was every 6 months, and then I was a year, and now I'm 2 before I have to come back. So
sometimes the nerves take longer to grow back.
Yeah.
You remind me when you were talking about something that I did for you. And it's basically advertisement that you're saying right now.
Sure, sure.
But can you imagine this week we had somebody, what nerve people have? But, it's like people who have nothing to do.
Mm,
They sit around the house, they're bored.
yeah.
They probably have no friends, no social life. And they sit around and think about how they can bust somebody's balls.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A lady called in the office and says to the front desk, "What's wrong with Dr. Jasper?" Now, this is a lady, has no pain, has no intentions on coming, never sent anybody.
Mm.
She just sees my advertisement and says, "What is wrong with you?
This
Why do
lady.
you use the same people in every commercial? That's stupid."
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And she said a few other things that I'm not going to mention.
Right.
But it's like, what do they think?
Like she was just sitting there and she was watching TV probably and just got completely steamed.
She worked herself up, said, "I'm calling his office. I'm telling them they're idiots for doing that kind of thing." Listen. The point, she's missing the whole point of the advertisement. It's to educate the people, to get them to come in and get fixed. People watch my advertisement sometimes for 2 years.
Yeah.
And finally they come in. People watch it for the first time and say, "You know what? That's me.
Right.
I'm going to call this guy." Some people watch it and say, "This is a pain in the ass, not this commercial again."
Yeah.
And then they realize they got pain, and then they call me.
Yeah. Well, I just want to make an announcement to everybody that I'm busy working on a few more new commercials to put out for everybody with great new information from both Dr. Skoblar and Dr. Jasper. Dr. Jasper's ones are going to be great. I've been listening to the audio we recorded, and it's fantastic. So
Well, we're starting a new topic now. We got a new topic where we want to concentrate on neck pain, pain going down into the arms.
Yeah.
People who have spinal stenosis of the cervical spine, which is one of the most diagnoses out there. People can't walk; they're unstable because they got spinal stenosis in the neck. Once we treat the lumbar area, and they still talk about instability and not knowing where their feet are, I send them for an MRI of the neck, and we usually find it. Sometimes with a little epidural, calms down the inflammation, shrinks everything down, and the patient feels better.
Mm.
But you got to remember, all this problem with your back and your neck, the spine, it's all degenerative changes that are progressive.
Yeah.
Some people more than others. It's genetic. Of course, trauma's completely different. You have no genetically related back problems or neck problems, and you get into an accident or you traumatize yourself somehow physically, and then you got chronic pain for the rest of your life, unless it's one little herniated disc like this lovely young lady that came. She's not going to have a problem like that probably for a long time, or maybe the rest of her life.
Yeah.
The disc is pretty good shape. See, when I do when I take the herniation off and take a little bone spurs off, I don't destroy the disc, which is very important.
Yeah.
And that's the new wave, which is the new wave's been out for 20 years. It just hasn't caught on yet.
It takes a bit to catch on.
Which is upsetting.
Yeah.
But she's going to last a long time. However, that disc was injured somehow.
Mm.
And I forget that she was in some kind of fight altercation. She was attacked. And but so it's like a bad knee. You injure a knee, it's probably never going to be the same. Eventually, you got to get a new knee or operate.
Right.
Degenerative process. So if anybody thinks that they're going to get fixed once and for all, that ain't going to happen. And that's why I say don't go get it fixed once and for all, because it ain't going to work.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work. You need to keep an eye on it and give these people a good quality of life.
I think most people who get spinal fusions think that that's what's going to happen. They're going to get this one and done procedure, and it's gonna fix them. It's the answers to all their pain problems, and that's not so at all. I mean, for some people, I suppose fusion helps, but most parts you might have problems down the road with that.
Yeah, I mean, there was I always got to give the examples coming to my office. I had a guy that came to my office, and he's a Medicare patient.
Mm.
And we treated him for he had a fusion done at, I think it was 5S1 or 4-5. And he had adjacent disc disease, because once you fuse one level, it's only a matter of time with a level above or below.
Yeah.
Mostly the level above is going to go, because that's the part that takes the brunt of your mobility.
Yeah.
You know, it's the fulcrum of, because the one that's fused is not moving, so the
Right.
one above it takes more stress, and eventually it goes. It's almost guaranteed all the time, and he had that. And I told him, I said, I was going to stop it in its tracks. You know, I'll treat it, and he'll be okay. Now, you could probably put a spacer in somebody like him, but when they put the fusion in, they took out the spinous process, so you can't. There's nowhere to wedge the spacer.
Yeah.
So that was out of the questions. I gave him some epidurals. Epidurals helped him. It was the kind of guy that very rarely was satisfied. He wanted 100% pain free. It's hard to explain to some people that because of the surgery, you're never going to be 100% pain free.
Right.
And then I knew a way to getting rid of the pain. That was endoscopically, because he had some pain down the legs. Right. And I'd go in there like I did with that young lady. I went in with a 4mm incision and opened it up. But the difference is she has good insurance. Medicare is good insurance. But for some reason, and that's a whole topic on itself about turf wars between surgeons, interventional pain doctors, surgeons and other surgeons that want to do this procedure. But that's another story. That about 8-10 years ago, they knocked down the reimbursement so low on endoscopic surgery that the patient now, for me, would have to come up with money to be able to have me do the procedure. Otherwise, I got to take money out of my own pocket. And believe me, it's a technically difficult procedure to do. A little bit easier for me. I've done so many, but nobody wants to learn how to do it. No, nobody wants to do it. They feel that it is not worth, and I agree with them. It's not worth doing that procedure for less money than it actually costs you to do. You know, you're paying money out of your pocket, so I got to charge the patient a little extra just to cover my overhead.
Yeah.
So it's basically a courtesy for the patient. And I told the guy how much money it was going to be, which is a nominal fee. It's not that much, nothing crazy. He refused. You know, he'd rather have a spinal cord stimulator. So I gave him a choice of putting in a spinal cord stimulator, but did the trial. Trial did pretty good, put it in, and he still wasn't satisfied. He had pretty good pain relief with the spinal cord stimulator, but he had that pain generator. I was gnawing at him.
Yeah.
It's going down his leg, and I could get rid of it. I'm not going to do it for nothing. You know, God forbid. I mean, how are you going to do that? You know, you just can't do it.
You're not even. You're not even allowed really to do all that for.
I don't know, but we can't afford it.
Yeah, you can't.
Can't afford to do patients for nothing.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. The tools.
The carpenter that's going to build you stairs.
Right.
They're not going to do it for nothing.
Right.
And well, guess what? I haven't seen him in about 2-3 months. He came back yesterday.
Did he?
With a fusion above the fusion he had, and he felt good. I said, "Good for you, good for you," because he didn't have to pay for that surgery,
right?
Because Medicare paid full price for that surgery, and everybody made money. And he had a surgery that he didn't necessarily need, but he had no choice,
right?
Because he didn't want to spend the money. I guess he had a choice if he wanted to spend it. The guy was poor. Yeah. And they pull up in a brand new Mercedes, Porsche, Cadillac, beautiful car, and spend a lot of money, but they won't spend a couple bucks to get their back fixed.
Oh man.
But
when I was suffering pain for 4.5 years, man, I was praying for any reprieve whatsoever, the slightest thing, just to give me a break for one freaking day of the pain I was suffering. And it was 24/7 pain, guys. And most of you, some of you that are listening to us anyway, that suffer pain and listen to Dr. Jasper, you see me on the commercial and I tell the story, right? And people see me out in the wild and they stop me, and it is real. Dr. Jasper, you listen to him, you follow what he says. I've never known any man who has better judgment than this guy across from me. Dr. Jasper is the absolute man, and put your faith in him. And I promise you, man, your life's going to change for the better. I hear these stories and I remember the pain. That ghost memory of the pain going down my legs, constantly suffering. Not a second of the day was happy. And I prayed for somebody like him, and I got him. And my whole family is so thankful, so thankful.
Let me ask you. Somebody's asking me, how do they find this podcast right now?
Oh, you can watch this podcast on live podcasts are on YouTube, our YouTube channel, which is Jasper Spine Institute on YouTube. But if you type in "Painless" with Dr. Gabriele Jasper, our videos pop up on YouTube. Also on Facebook, our Facebook is Jasper Spine Institute. Also, we archive all of our shows on there as well. And then after our live recording, I put it up on Buzzsprout, and that shoots it off to Spotify, iTunes, Yahoo, Google, anywhere podcasts are found. You'll be able to find Painless with Dr. Gabriele Jasper.
I guess the topic right now is endoscopic surgery, which is a great topic. I do a lot less of them because the newer procedures came out.
Yeah,
the interspinal spacers, the ability under indirect visualization to take out the ligamentum flavum. We call the interspinal spacers by great companies. And also the other one, but I don't know if it's appropriate to name their. We got to figure that out because it'd be nice to endorse them, talk about them on the show.
We could just mention them. It's
well, spinal simplicity.
Yeah,
interspinal spacers. We work great together.
Right.
And there's tons of different ones out there, but this is the one I like right now.
Yeah.
Overall, I think it's the best in different areas. Even the support, the guys that come over and the women that come over take care of you, help you and deliver the stuff, and they're very knowledgeable. And the same with the mild procedure, and sometimes I use them both in combination, and that has cut back tremendously on the amount of endoscopic surgery that I have to do. But but you have to have a spinous process, and you're not going to go in there with somebody with a laminectomy and do a mild procedure. It's dangerous.
Right.
In fact, there's no need for it because there's no more ligament. They take it all out in a full laminectomy. But let's talk about this one particular guy who's my age, young guy, healthy, good shape, not overweight,
right.
Heart, lungs, everything perfect. But he's in severe pain going down his left leg. Thank God it's just his left leg. And he's crunched over and he can't move. He's fidgety. He got to move in different positions to relieve the pain. He moves in a position, relieves the pain, it starts again. He got to get a different. The guy's life is miserable.
Yeah,
miserable. And he doesn't want a spinal cord stimulator. Absolutely not. At this point, there's really no surgery he could do. He goes to the surgeon. He had a complete laminectomy, no fusion. The fusion is probably with just bone graft. Well, his life is ruined.
Oh, Jesus.
And I did some epidurals on him, didn't work. Radio frequency lesioning. I mean, everything I could possibly do on this poor guy.
Right.
Nothing works because it's the surgery. And he's got such bad degenerative disc disease, which is not only what's left over from the surgery, but because the progressive disease, the disc collapse, and then the holes where the nerves come out, a neuroforamina where the nerves come out of the hole to go into the legs, are crushing the nerve. I mean, it's almost obliterated the holes. So what do? I about 10 years ago, and I really don't want to do these anymore because they're, number one, it's probably a 2.5, 3 hour procedure for one level.
Yeah.
Right. Number two, you don't get paid for it. Number three, I have to ask the patient for a little bit of money just so I can pay my overhead.
Right.
Nobody in their right mind would ever do this. And I haven't done it in a while. I've done a lot of endoscopic surgeries, but I haven't done this in a while because it's just not worth the effort, not worth the risk for the patient, for complications, and the fact that, you don't get paid for it. But I do, and I do it well. And I'm very careful when I do it.
Is that that's the
endoscopic surgery, to go in there and you look at where the hole is, the neuroforamina, where the nerve's coming out of. And a lot of people hopefully are listening to this abroad, all over. Very few people do this. There was a guy in France and in England, Martin Knight, He was famous for it. He's the one that really stimulated me to do it.
Mm.
We had a conference there probably 18 years ago in France. Good man. I should have told him that I'm doing a podcast.
Right, right.
I'm going to let him know to watch my podcast. But anyway, I mentioned his name because he was doing these procedures way before everybody else.
Right.
I mean, he had the eye, and he still obviously does it.
Yeah,
a little older than me, but I guarantee he's still doing it. But and I told the guy about it. He goes, "What can I do? What can I do?" I told him. He goes, "Doc, I don't care." He goes, "My life is ruined. I can't do anything." And he's young and healthy. He's going to live, if he don't kill himself, he's going to live a long time.
Right, right.
And finally, he convinced me. He goes, "Doc," he goes, "I don't care how much it costs, and it's not a lot. I don't care how much it costs." And he's going to need more than one level. So you need to pay every time because Medicare only pays for one level. So you can't do two levels.
Right.
Because then money's coming out of your pocket again.
Yeah.
So you do one level, they give you enough money to where the patient doesn't have to pay too much more money.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And we do it in a way that you're not allowed to charge patients that are Medicare patients if you take Medicare. But there are certain procedures that I have to do in the procedure that Medicare does not recognize the code. Then it becomes legal. And I want everything legal. I don't do anything in the gray area.
No.
I want to put that out there. That's a disclosure. There's certain codes that they do not recognize that I need to do in that procedure, and that's what the patient's paying for.
Yeah, docs is stand up as it comes.
Yeah, well, they don't care. They try to get you anyway, whether you're honest or dishonest or what. But anyway, it's gonna be a project, and I got Dr. Scobler on board.
Yeah,
because we're gonna take this gentleman, and we're gonna write a case report on him.
Oh, great!
And we're gonna publish it. And hopefully a couple of good journals. And if any journals are listening, if you want me to do it, just reach out to me and we'll put it in your journal. But and we're going to do this slowly. We take a video of the guy in the beginning.
Yeah, meticulous.
Right? And then see how it goes. The success rate, I told him, is probably 50%. It's higher than 50%, but I'm not going to give him a high percentage.
Right.
Because he's just got so much. I mean, if you look at it, he's got at least 3 levels on each side that are completely closed down on the nerve. Thank God it's only one side that we're going to deal with.
Yeah.
But eventually the other side's going to come.
Yeah, but no, I mean, like to change the life of a guy who, up until coming to you, felt hopeless. I mean, that's the kind of cool stuff. You see these people come in and they've lost the whole rest of their lives, they feel. And then you just take a look and see what you can do. That's fantastic, man.
I know that. I mean, that's the main reason I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's definitely not for the money. It's because I want to see that guy's face when he can stand up straight and function for the rest of his life. There's nothing more rewarding than that. To me, to anybody in our staff. It's probably his family and himself. Oh,
yeah.
But in fact, some of the guys, hopefully, that are listening, that was at the conference. It was probably 10 years ago in France, and I was invited to present my cases. I had some publications and pictures and different case studies that I did similar to this.
Right.
And it was called. The topic was endoscopic surgery, the tough stuff. That was a topic.
That's great.
And I think we even talked about this, but never on the podcast, on the radio show once. But we were with all the big guns out there, Gun Choi, Sang Ho Lee, all the big guys. Those are the guys from Korea, and there's guys from South America, from all over Europe, and they were all there. Presenting themselves, and everybody. That's how we get better, because it's still evolving and it's still in its genesis. So we all evolve it almost parallel, but there's always a little something that this one knows, I know, and they know. We get together, and we just get better. But most of these guys are open spine surgeons, dabbling in some endoscopic surgery and doing it where it really needs to be done, where you could avoid doing major surgery. However, somebody like this guy here, they're not going to do that.
Right.
Somebody who had surgery with fusion, chances are very few people will operate endoscopically at that level. And one of the cases I presented was a guy that had the screw screwed right into the side of the nerve, partially cutting the nerve, and the nerve was totally inflamed at that area and getting crushed.
Yeah.
And I showed pictures of the nerve getting screwed, right? Literally screwed. And then how I went in there and I kind of moved it a little bit and I got in and I drilled like a Dremel kind of thing. I drilled that screw not to make it weak, but
Right.
just enough to come off the nerve. The pain went away.
Yeah.
I had another patient that I presented that had fusion, and what they did was they dumped bone graft into the gutters. They do that still to this day. Don't understand why they do it, but they dump it. And if you don't put it in the right spot, it spills over into where the nerve is, and kind of like coats the nerve, and it dries up and crushes the nerve.
Oh, Jesus.
I found one like that. You can't see that on an MRI. Can't hardly see that on a CAT scan. And that patient was, I went in and I called it an endoscopic exploratory procedure. Like somebody comes in with abdominal pain, they don't know what it is, they open them up and see what it is.
Right.
Exploratory laparotomy, right? Was the same thing I did. I went in, I saw this nerve getting crushed, and I took Carrisons, chisels, drills, and I worked on it for about 2 hours. And all of a sudden, you see the nerve start to pulsate. Patient was awake. Instantly, when it started pulsating, the patient said the pain was gone.
Really?
And it had some wise
Doc,
guy.
that's amazing stuff.
I had a wise guy in the audience raise their hand and say, "What do you do if it comes back?" I said, "Let me ask you a question. If you give somebody a 5-level fusion,
Right,
and the pain all goes away and it comes back in 6 months, what do you do? What do you possibly do to this patient?" I do the same thing. I go back in
and take a look
and
around.
take a look, and maybe something grew over there again. I find a pain generator and get rid of the pain generator. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And one of the biggest, I was talking about this yesterday, one of the biggest compliments I had was at that conference, we had a couple of the big guys together, and we were going out to dinner with on the boat going down the river in Paris. And we were standing in line, and one of the main guys says to the guy's second man in command, he goes, "Hey, maybe you should go to America and learn something from Gabe." And you know what he said?
What?
Which made me, that was best compliment. These are the top guys in the world.
Right.
He said, "The only reason why Gabe is better than me is because he can't do open surgery. We don't do endoscopic surgery on his patients he does it on. He does it, and he has to do it, so that's the only choice. That's why he got good at it."
Right.
If we have a patient like that, we open it up, pull a screw out, right, put another one in a different angle.
Right.
He goes in and grinds the screw down, and he's done, right? But that was a good compliment.
That's a good compliment. Yeah.
Well, that's enough about me. Let's talk about me again.
Let's see what else you got.
Let's talk about the practice.
Yeah.
The practice, we're getting busier, thank God.
Yeah.
Because the word's getting out there. I think our major patient intake are coming from other patients.
Yeah.
A lot of patients coming in from the advertisement, from other doctors. It's a tremendous amount of doctors that are sending patients because, they hear from us, they hear from their patients.
Yeah.
So
they even see the commercials themselves,
Yeah, they see the commercials, and they get reinforced by them having patients that say, "Hey, I went to see Dr. Jasper. He got rid of my pain."
Yeah.
So that's still not directly from a doctor. That's patient by mouth, telling a doctor, and the doctor sending them.
Yeah.
Right. So it's doctor referrals, it's other patient referrals, friends, family referrals, and the advertisement. What else?
Obviously the word of mouth from everybody. We got radio, we got TV, we got newspapers. Like we're everywhere, and you're going to see us or hear us everywhere. I know. I mean, when I go out, I get stopped all the time. How about you?
Oh yeah, kidding me?
Yeah.
I had a patient want to get my autograph.
Really?
That was an autograph for what?
Yeah.
But my famous line, I said, "Doc, I see you on TV all the time." I said, "What, the American Most Wanted?" I see your picture all over the place. We're at the post office.
It's a mugshot.
Yeah. Yeah, this is it's a great field. I'm glad I picked it. I love my job.
Yeah, man.
I have at my age, I still have no intention on retiring or slowing down.
Right.
You know, I love coming to work. I love getting rid of pain. There is nothing better in the world with the feeling and the gratitude of getting rid of somebody's pain. You know, it's nice when somebody has a ruptured abdominal aortic aneurysm about ready to die and you save their life.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
that's it's just a rewarding feeling that you get being a physician.
Yeah. Yeah.
People say, why do you want to become a physician? And that's one of the reasons.
Sure.
Nobody says I want to become a physician today because I'm going to make a lot of money and get rich.
Right.
That's for sure.
Right.
Or I want to be crucified by insurance companies or get sued by patients that have nothing wrong with them. They just want to make money.
There's a lot of grief too you got to go through. But man, you know, I wonder if there's any way we could come up with all the numbers of the lives you've actually changed and made better and never had to come back. You know, I'd love to see those numbers because you feel like it's a lot, and it has to be. But that's the kind of place it is. You come in, you're drained of color. All you've got is this pain that's consumed your life, and you've been to tons of other doctors, and they've all just given you either pills or they've given you that series of 3 stuff and throwing you to physical therapy. That's a trap I fell into. Sometimes you fall through the cracks, and you're looking for that one doctor that can change everything for you. I found him when my hopes were at their lowest. My wife actually found you on online, thank God. And I came in, and you said those magic words, "I can fix you." You
I
know,
can fix that.
yeah. And my fourth visit, I went in. 2 hours later, I walked out. And that was me walking out pain-free the first time in 4.5 years. I gave my wife a stand-up hug, which is something like I was never ever able to do. I could go and play with my kid. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing. You know what? I'm going to tell you a little bit more. I had a dinky little YouTube show, and I was making stupid videos and stuff. But Doc was watching. You know, Doc would go onto YouTube and take a look at me and stuff. And then one day I hadn't seen him in so long because I was pain free. You know, and I guess that's what happens. It's the long goodbye. You know, after you've healed somebody, and I got a phone call. You know, Dr. Jasper would like to talk with you. You know, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll come in. And I came in, and he asked me if I could film a surgery, and I did, you know, and I screwed up the first one, but he was like, "No, it's all right. It's all right." He was really cool.
Yeah.
You were really cool. So we'll get you another one. We'll do another one. I'm like, okay, all right. And then after that, you know, I think Paul came up to me and said, you know, I think we got a place for you here, you know. But I always tell people, everybody I meet, I always tell them this very same thing. How often do you meet a man who not only changes your life, but then gives you purpose? You know, and I have a passion for this business we talk about every weekend. The people that come in, the people that work there, and Dr. Jasper, I love him. I love his kids. You know, yeah. He's such a terrific guy. Really is.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. That's very nice of you.
Yeah.
And you've been a great help for the practice, especially the advertisement and social media.
Yeah.
You know, which, you know, I was also going to talk about. To run a practice, it's not just taking care of patients.
Yeah.
It's a business, especially today. You know, my grandfather, he had a little office in his house on the first floor. He lived on the second floor. And I remember as a little kid, he was a hell of a chef.
Really?
But every Saturday morning at 11 o'clock, I would ride my bicycle to his house. Little Stingray chopper. Today call it chopper. It was a Stingray bicycle made by Schwinn.
Schwinn.
I'm sure people know which one that is.
Sure.
It was in the 60s. And I'd drive my bicycle all the way over there. And I go upstairs. My grandma's there getting preparing not lunch, but preparing all like the prep work for my grandfather to come up and cook.
Oh,
And he would come up. I could hear him shuffling up the stairs. He was already late 70s, early 80s, and he was still working, shuffling up the stairs. And he'd come in. He goes, "All right, how you doing? Let's cook." And he would cook, and he would did a lot. A lot of my cooking skills came from those days.
right.
And his brothers would show up, and they eat. It was funny that my grandmother, when she used to strain the pasta, right, and he'd sit at the table, and she strained the pasta and mix it with the sauce and everything, and then and take a little bit out and put it in the refrigerator,
Right.
and then take the one that she took out yesterday and pan fry it. I said, "Why do you do that? Why eat leftovers?" Because I love it's like refried beans. You know what I mean?
Refried beans.
It's
Yeah.
refried pasta. She loved it refried, and we come in and we eat. But and then one day he told me he was going to retire. I think he was 80 years old or close to it. And I said, "Why are you going to retire? You have so much knowledge.
Mm.
I mean, you've been through 50 years of practice." And that's what's good about being a doctor. As you get older, you get better.
Yeah.
And you get these young whippersnappers coming out thinking that they know everything.
Right.
And they don't. You know, they know the academic stuff, the safe stuff that
Yeah.
they're only allowed to teach. But he says, "Listen, I'm tired. You know, you can't." And it's not practicing medicine is what made him tired. Like me, I don't want to ever quit. But what gets on your nerves sometimes is dealing with the insurance companies.
Mm.
You work your butt off. They don't want to pay you. You got to fight for it. You know, you got a tremendous overhead. Sometimes you don't make it at the end of the week. You know, this is the stress of medicine today. And even in those days, that's one of the reasons why he backed out was too much.
Yeah.
You know, the malpractice insurance, people that want to, today, it's like almost like the cops.
Right.
You know, the woke community, I don't even know what that means, but they all hate cops. They don't like doctors. They don't like teachers. They don't like anything that's good for society.
Yeah, it's amazing. These are the people that help you, the helpers in the world, you know, and everybody and there's no clear reason why they've turned against cops or anything like that. Just because somebody said so, you know, I never get that. I never understand that.
Like I said before, there's always a bad egg.
Yeah.
No
Well,
matter
we were talking about that woman earlier. Remember the one that just called up for no reason.
You know, you could have any group. One bad apple don't spoil a whole bunch of. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I mean, there's always going to be a bad apple,
Yeah.
no matter what you do. But and I'm convinced, and if you do the statistics, that doctors overall are honest people.
Right.
Cops are honest people. Teachers are honest people. You know,
Yeah.
and they all want to do their job and do it well. Once in a while, you get some cuckoo bird in there, which is ruining the word for everybody, ruining the faith of the public.
Yeah.
You know, all right, I don't know the details of what happened on these beating up people and killing them, the cops and everything, but the majority of them, they're good.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not want to get into detail about this, but when a cop pulls me over and asks for my driver's license and identification insurance card, you know what I say? "Okay, okay, officer." I said, "I'm going to go into first of all, I have my hands on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to go into my glove box and I'm going to get the stuff. And I'm going to go in with one hand and, you know, and there's nothing else in there but that." And I pull it out very slowly and I hand it to him. I don't say, "What'd you pull me over for?"
Right. You don't give him.
I don't have to give you that.
Ah.
That's against my rights. Don't argue with him unless you got something to hide. If you got something to hide, but please don't do that just because you think you can.
Right.
You know, we used to respect cops in the old days.
Yeah.
And I still respect the cop.
I'd
hate to be a cop out there today.
I just watched recently on TV somebody explaining just what you said, but in the negative, you know, and like, my son has to go and you know, when he gets pulled over, has to put his hands on there. And "Yes, officer, I have to go into my glove compartment." They were talking about it like it's this horrible thing. No, we're doing that as a safety thing for the officer. So when he approaches us, he knows we're safe, and he knows, okay, I'm not gonna have to pull my gun or anything like that. It's a you know, a gratuity almost for the officer.
Yeah.
And but they want to make it sound like it's a bad thing.
Don't resist arrest.
No.
Because if you're, first of all, if you start to, and this is off the topic of what I do,
Yeah.
but I got to vent a little bit here. I mean, I see some of these videotapes on YouTube videos, right? You're resisting arrest.
Yeah.
Right. First of all, if you didn't resist and didn't give the cop a hard time in the beginning, he wouldn't be arresting you. And if he's arresting you because of a good reason, then don't resist, because that's just going to make trouble for you and everybody else. If they're making a mistake and they arrest you, it's not going to be on your record. You're not going to be indicted and convicted for something that you didn't do. You know, you know, in my opinion, it just less trouble. All right, you lose a little bit of time going down to the police department. You get a good lawyer, and you're you know, and you're innocent. You're not going to have a problem. You know, you'll be let go.
Right.
You know what I mean? What's the alternative? Get beat up?
Right.
You know, because when you're resisting arrest and you got 4 cops on you,
Right.
you know, you're resisting and they're trying to control you.
Yeah.
Listen, if somebody put my hands behind my back, if I put my arms behind my back and put handcuffs on me, doing it very slowly
Right.
and delicately, that will hurt me. Let alone jolting me back there and flinging me around.
Right.
At my age, with my shoulder pain and joints,
Oh, mine too.
who the hell, you know, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I you know, I'm thank God I'm not a woman and I have to take off my brassiere on and off. I mean, I couldn't do that with my shoulder, you know, my arthritis and I have the thumbs. But anyway.
Have you been handcuffed and with your hands behind your back and put in the back seat of a police car?
Now, what kind of stupid question is that?
No, because I have.
Well, so have I.
No, I figured.
But this is to market me as a good, honest physician.
Well,
I could trust.
I did it.
People out there are looking at me and saying, I can't imagine Dr. Jasper getting arrested. No. But I have to disclose it. It was all before I turned 18.
That's what I'm saying. Same with me. I threw a cigarette out the window, so I got it for littering, essentially. And but I had my arms like behind me in the back, and there's no cushions in those.
Good story.
Well, yeah. Give me it.
One time, and I was over 18. I think it was like 23, 24 years old. So it has happened to me after 18.
Right.
I was home for the summer, medical school in Italy. And of course, last minute, Gabe, you know, heading down to the airport. I was with my my fiance at the time, and Felix.
Hey, Felix.
And we were driving down to the Newark airport from Passaic, and I was running late. And I'm going through the complex there at Newark Airport, like I was a race car driver in 1981 Grand Prix Pontiac, kind of souped up a little bit, and it was Michelle. So I'm hauling ass and I'm sliding into the turns. I was so late, I had to make it. So as I'm sliding into one of the turns on the opposite direction was a cop. It was a Port Authority police.
Oh.
And I looked in the rearview mirror and the lights went on. I didn't slow down. Because I had exams that week and I had to get back to Italy, right? And I was flying, and I was almost missing the plane. So they would pull up in front of the terminal, and I could see the line going in. Right. So I made it. I run out, and Michelle and Felix get out. We left the car parked there, and we go into the terminal. Place was surrounded by cops, right? But they didn't see me run out, but they saw Felix and Michelle run out of the car, and I'm standing in line, and I'm telling you, they're like 3 feet from me. I'm like standing in line,
right?
You know, just looking ahead, looking around, and they're like, "Okay, you two, where's the driver of the car? Oh, he left. He's already on his way to Italy. What are you talking about? Where is he? We just saw him run out of here." And it was like, he's gone. He's not here, because I knew I had to leave.
Right.
Finally, they grabbed Felix, and I said, "Well, we're going to arrest you." And I could see Felix looking at me. He almost had tears in his eyes. Don't let me get arrested. Finally, I said, "Okay, it was me." And they grabbed me, and they grabbed my hands and put behind my back, and they threw me into the jail.
Oh my God!
Eluding a police officer. I wasn't eluding them. They didn't even get a chance to start chasing after me. I was
Right.
already at the terminal before they got close to me. But I was going to be late. Well, I got off on that one, thank God.
Right.
You know,
Right.
medical student, late. I wasn't eluding the police officer. They gave me a speeding ticket.
I got strip searched for littering. I did. They brought me in, and it was a woman that was strip searching me. You know.
Well, that's sexual harassment. as far as
I
I'm
would think
concerned.
so. I would think. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that was a pretty good old topic.
Oh, we got Felix here chiming in. Hold on.
Felix,
First he says
that?
hello. He says, "I know where this is going."
Felix, you remember that one?
Carmel says, "Good morning."
All right, Carmel. Good morning. Hope George is all right. Her husband,
what's wrong with George?
Brother-in-law, had his knee done a couple of days ago.
Oh, all right.
Now he's got 2 total knees by Dr. Bogdan, a very good surgeon. He did them, and George is no skinny balink. He's a big man, and he did it. And when he did, I don't know, maybe 90 days ago or something, it's perfect. He's got no more pain. Now he's going to heal up with this one and do good. He said that was, George told me that was the doctor said that was the worst arthritis he's ever seen.
Oh, boy.
George is Ukrainian. They have a pain threshold way higher.
George is Ukrainian, really?
He's got they got pain thresholds a hell of a lot higher than most Latinos or Italians.
Really?
I see that in my practice.
George is like me. He's built for comfort.
Yeah. So that's it. We had it's a pretty good show today.
It was.
We talked about quite a few things. We didn't talk about anything specific, but we talk about a lot of things redundant every time we talk.
Felix says, "Tell the story in the Jaguar driving with no shirt." Do you remember that?
Yeah. We didn't get arrested though.
No.
I can't remember why I had no shirt on. Do you remember why I had no shirt on?
He'll type it in.
I think we were changing to go somewhere. It was in the middle of the winter. I had this Jaguar. It was like a 10-year-old Jaguar that I bought from my father's friend.
Wow.
It was a beautiful car, and it was probably at the time worth 10 times more than I paid for it. But he kind of did my father a favor and sold it to me for whatever I had in my pocket, which was like $150. But we were going somewhere, and I think we were changing to get somewhere. So I took my shirt off and put another one on.
There on the screen.
Did he say why? Did he give you a reason?
Allergic to soap.
Oh, was that what it was?
I guess so.
I guess it was itching like crazy, and I took my shirt off. I said, I got to go home and get something different and take a shower.
Right.
I was itching all over the place. So I took my shirt off. It was dead winter. It was like 10 degrees outside. And I'm driving down the street, and the cops pulled me over, made me stand outside and said, "What the hell are you doing? Driving down the street with no shirt on."
But like in the dead of winter?
In the dead of winter. They made me stand out there. And I had to be 17 years old, maybe 18 years old.
Right. It's crazy how these things just make sense to you.
But it turns out he knew me. I was delivering submarine sandwiches for Blimpie at the time.
Oh,
so
right.
They all knew me down there because they would walk the beat. And somewhere along the line they pulled me over quite a few times.
Right.
Pulled me over, but I learned real quick when you try to outrun the cops and you pull into a driveway to take your foot off the brake.
Anyway, this was a good show.
Yeah.
This was a great show.
Well, maybe we'll cut this show off a little teeny bit early today because
yeah.
We got a lot of things to do today. We started early.
Yep.
And I appreciate everyone. Could tell you that if you want to come to see us, we're at 74 Brick Boulevard in Bricktown, New Jersey. It's behind the Roy Rogers, across the street from Burlington Coat Factory, Stop and Shop, Bank of America.
Building number 3.
Building number 3, way in the back there. That's what the lady said yesterday. I just tell my friends, go to Roy Rogers, just drive way in the back in the right, and you'll see Dr. Jasper's office. Just go in there and make an appointment. The lady I told you had these spacers like 4 years ago and still great.
Oh, wow, yeah.
They want to do major surgery on her.
We got to get somebody new on the TV, on the commercials too.
We got a couple of new ones.
Yeah.
We got a videotape.
Yeah.
We should videotape that young girl, because
totally. Yeah.
She wants to be videotaped.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
we got when she comes in, we'll have her come in on Wednesday.
Okay.
Next week.
Sure.
And you can get us at jaspermd.com.
That's right.
Right. And also Call us at 732-262-0700.
Right.
And you can see all of these repeats on YouTube. You can see it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And
And
like
on Spotify and all of that, everywhere podcasts are found. Also, please share. If you've got loved ones who are suffering pain, share our show so they can at least listen, and it might give them, the push in the right direction that they need.
I gotta text or send messages out to my friends in Korea, South America, Germany, Italy,
Yeah.
that do endoscopic surgery to listen to this, because I like to have some good input.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Good feedback from what we talk about. Maybe they have add some stuff about what they do.
Yeah.
It'd be nice. Maybe have them come in here one of these days if they ever come to America.
And if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, please you can if you like our page, you'll get notifications every time we go live. And if you do if you subscribe on YouTube and you click on that bell notification thing, you'll get notifications when we go live as well. And you can join us in the chat. We have a live chat every Saturday when we do go live, where you can ask every question you have about your pain to Dr. Gabriele Jasper. And there's no waiting in a waiting room. You have access to him ASAP on Saturday mornings.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Looks like a great day.
Yep.
And till next week.
Till next week.
Maybe not next week. Next week we'll be around next week.
Okay.